Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. First Autumn Windbags of the offseason. The burden of the season is now off of our shoulders. I like how at the beginning of the season, it's just all optimism and we're stoked and excited and jacked. And then we slowly die as the Raiders get worse and worse. And now we're like, I'm not speaking for you. At least I'm kind of like happy this season's over because the stress of losing every weekend's gone.
Dude, I said thank God when you said season's over. Thank God it's over.
It feels like we got a divorce from like a really shitty chick.
It's like she had like a nice rack, or she could fucking that Gok 3000 was on point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you stuck around a lot longer than you should have.
Yeah, it looked like she was hot with her clothes on. You know what I mean? Like she put to herself together well, but then once you started shedding layers, you're just like, oh, ugh. Like you never work out. You're just kind of like skinny fat.
Yeah, those jeans just kind of push everything where it needs to go.
Yeah, like she wears a lot of one pieces, and you're like, what are you hiding? It's like, well, now we know.
You take it off and it's just like, ugh.
That was the Raiders season.
Right? Looks all right, and then you take the freaking pants off and it's
yeah. Well, we dumped her. Now we're free men. We're on the open market, at least until the end of August next season, when the pressure's on yet again. Speaking of next season, question of the day. We'll put it down, pinned in the comment section. Curious what you think. Obviously, the biggest question of the offseason. Who should quarterback the Las Vegas Raiders in the 2023-2024 season? Every single season, there was the discussion. Oh, are we going to trade Carr? Oh, are they going to move on from Carr? What's going to happen with Carr? And he stayed, and he stayed, and he stayed, and he stayed. And I never really bought it any season. This year, it's for realsies. I guess technically he could still be on the team next season, but that's not happening. He's going to be gone, whether he's cut before 3 days before the Super Bowl or 3 days after the Super Bowl, or hopefully traded for some assets. It will not be Derek Carr. Therefore, we are in need of the services. So we have Chase still on the roster. That's it. Jarrett Stidham, free agent. His 4-year rookie contract is up. And of course, all the rumors have been around guys that have played with Josh McDaniels before. So basically, Soto, it feels like it's down to 4 options. Tuck Rule Tommy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jarrett Stidham,
pretty Jimmy,
or a high draft pick. It feels like those are pretty much the Aaron Rodgers felt like a pipe dream. I can't think of any other free agent quarterbacks that, after watching Stidham in the last 2 games in the season, I'm like, okay, McDaniels has to have a quarterback that knows the system. Like that's what he's going to go after. He's not going to try to turn someone around or pick up some random or, like some running quarterback or something. It's like, no, he needs a Josh McDaniels guy to run the Josh McDaniels system. That's it. So he's either starting from scratch. We have the 7th overall pick, either starting from scratch with a high draft pick, or Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jarrett Stidham. That sound about right? Is there anyone I'm missing?
Jacoby Brissett is a free agent now.
Okay.
Signed a 1-year deal to kind of hold the place for Mr. Massage Parlor, Sean Watson.
Bob Kraft? Oh, that one.
Oh, that guy too.
Yeah, you have to specify in the NFL now.
Yeah, sorry. Not Mr. Massage Parlor, Mr. Sports Massage.
Florida Massage Parlor or Texas Massage Parlor? You gotta specify now.
Jacoby Brissett is also a guy that is familiar with the McDaniel system. He's been a starting quarterback in this league. He's won games in this league. And he is also an unrestricted free agent.
Do you think Josh McDaniels or Ziegler and company would pursue that?
It all depends on who they draft. If they draft a guy up high, I don't know that they're going to want to go with a Brady or even a Garoppolo, because they're going to want to, if we get another Derek Carr, Matt Schaub situation, where for all intents and purposes, everyone thought that Matt Schaub was going to start the season as the starting quarterback, and Derek Carr just beat him. So I think that's what it would be if it's like a Stidham or a Brissett. We bring him on as a veteran guy who's been around and help teach him the system. And if the first round rookie beats him out, then he beats him out, and we start from there. If not, he can learn behind a guy, and we'll have a guy that's a capable quarterback, but it's a total placeholder. I think if we do a Brady or Garoppolo, I think we're banking on them being the starter, and we wouldn't waste in that sense a high draft pick on a quarterback, because you end up giving Brady or Garoppolo a ton of money, and this young kid becomes shows that he's super dynamic and gives you a better chance to win. You're just basically wasting money on a veteran quarterback.
Those are weird, nice problems to have, though. Like you draft a guy and you're like, holy shit, we got a diamond in the rough. We got a guy that can play, and we've got a veteran. So it's a weird situation because, it feels like you're wasting money, but that's the problem you want. Like the young guy you pick up that you think's not ready and needs time.
And you can always trade. I don't know if you can trade Brady, but you could always trade Garoppolo to a team, mid-season, stuff like that. But I mean, that's my thinking going into it. Going into free agency, because free agency is after the draft. Oh, there's a second free agency period after the draft.
So let's start with Tom Brady. Albert Breer reported that the Raiders are seriously looking into him, and Jimmy Garoppolo. He'll be 46 next season, so it would be a 1-year deal type of thing. Tom Brady played last season for his cap hit was $35 million last season. Took a team, kind of a friendly deal, right? Because he's like, hey, you're just kind of renting me. I want to chase a ring, right? Another ring. So let's assume it'd be about 35 mil. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he knows Josh McDaniels' system. Obviously, they know each other really well. He's one of those guys where people would gather around him, right? Maybe Gronk comes out of retirement again to play with him. Other players around the league would, just kind of gravitate. So it'd be good for free agency for us. Randos would come in and say like, hey, I want to play with Brady. Obviously he's got to be rock hard thinking about our weapons. Devontae, Hunter, Darren, Jacobs. Let's move forward, assuming Jacobs plays for the Raiders again next season. Pick up the 5th-year option and we keep him. It's not a guarantee, but
look, if they don't sign him, they'll franchise him. He's not going to go. He's not going anywhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But he can be franchised and traded too if they don't want to pay him. But that's what I'm saying. Let's move forward, assuming our all-world running back stays in silver and black. The guy with the Raiders tattoo stays a Raider, right? He's got to be rock hard about that. The downsides that I see are a terrible defense. Tom Brady has always had a great defense. He's never played on a team with a bad defense. The line improved a lot this season. Still very much a work in progress. Not a quality line. I don't think Brady's ever played behind a line this bad that wasn't destroyed by injuries. Like he's been behind lines that got worse with injuries, but week 1, I don't think he's ever played on a line this bad. And also he's playing in the same division as Patrick Mahomes, who it hurts me. Like I want to barf saying it, but like he's entering his prime. Like Patrick Mahomes is only getting better.
He's like 27 years old.
Dude, he's like the worst is yet to come from Patrick
he's going to get better.
Andy Reid, right? And Tom Brady's a front runner, right? Like they beat up the AFC East forever. Went to Tampa Bay when everything was going great for them in that division. It just seems like competitively, everyone's like, "Oh, he's got weapons and Josh McDaniels." Like, yeah, but does he think he's going to win with Las Vegas? So those are kind of the pros and cons I see.
Yeah, honestly, I think at this point in his career, if he wants to play, I think it's going to be more for because as he gets older, those situations become less and less locks because he becomes less and less of a lock.
Yeah.
Despite what we want to say about his last couple of years with Tampa, which were really good years, he had really good stats. He led the league 2 years ago in passing yardage, I think, right?
Won the Super Bowl.
He won Super Bowl. It's like, he did really well there, but it's like how many times can you go back and go back to the same well and the fountain of youth, right? So I think those there's not going to be that many suitors for Tom Brady. And I think he's going to have to pick and choose his situations because he's not going to get everything.
Yeah.
Think of Tom Brady like the chick at the bar who was really hot when she was in her 20s, and she was hot in her 30s, and now she's in her mid 40s. It's like, yeah, she's still pretty hot for 45, right? But she's 40 fucking 5. So it's like, yeah, she can say, okay, I want a guy that's over 6 feet, that makes 6 figures, that's got a huge dick, that's fucking, works out. Like, okay, you got to pick 3 of those now, because you're not going to pick it. You're not going to get everything. You got to pick 3 of those motherfuckers. So Tom Brady's getting to that point now where, although he's good, he's still really good, and he can help a team win. I don't think he's in the position now for the cap space he's gonna take to be able to say, okay, I need a line, I need defense, I need this, I need that.
For 35 mil, he can ask for a lot. Like, for his caliber and 35 mil, that's not a barrier to entry.
I think you're overplaying that. I think that, honestly, it's a young man's game, dude. Patrick Mahomes is the oldest quarterback in the AFC in the playoffs, and he's 27. So it's a young man's game, and he's 20 years older than these guys.
He won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, though. Like,
let's
say he's 80% of what he was 2 years ago.
RJ, it's really hard to say 80% of, because it's like you're assuming that someone gets better every single year, or the drop off isn't as much. The dropping off
20%. That's a big drop off.
No, I'm telling you, a drop off at this age is going to be a cliff. And are you going to want to hitch your wagon? Because look, I think Tom Brady is realistic about this. I think he knows that him being comfortable in an offense, if he's not going to be in Tampa, the most comfortable situation he has is with Josh McDaniels. And a good offense that can play really well situationally. I mean, I don't think we lose at least 3 of those games that we lost last year. And we don't really have to really score any more points. It's just moving the ball, eating up clock, not making it so easy, not giving the opponent a lot more possessions by going 3 and out, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you don't have to always score more points to help your defense out. You can just eat up clock and eat up time and shorten the game that way. And knowing the system the way he does, it's like a second language to him. It's like he's fluent in it. So honestly, I think I'm not advocating for this to happen. This is like a fallback plan for me. I would rather us draft a really good rookie in the first round if he's available. If it's a Levis, if it's a Stroud, if it's whoever, and get one of these serviceable guys to hold the place until the guy beats him out. But if it happens to be Tom Brady, I'm telling you, it's not going to be as hard to sell as you think.
Hard to sell for who?
For Brady to go to the Raiders.
I think it definitely is, or he's that overconfident in himself, because he's never been in a situation like he would be with the Raiders with the defense.
Again, he's that 45 chick in the bar, man. He's not that freaking hot little 22-year-old strutting around. He's not that guy anymore.
You're also got to take into consideration this. I don't think you are. Brady fucking moves units, right? So an owner who's thinking like jersey sales, ticket sales, merchandise, Brady will crush that wherever he goes, right? He's he's the most famous guy arguably the most famous guy in sports, right? So like wherever he goes, I think owners are going to want, even if maybe there's some coaches who are like, I think I got something better, I don't want a one-off. Owners are going to be like, dude, if we have a shot at Brady, let's roll the dice, because he's that big of a moneymaker.
Yeah, man. It's like, and this is Mark Davis. What's his last name? Davis. He's not Al, but he's close. He's getting there in his old age.
He's a star fucker more than Al.
Yeah, he wants. I mean, maybe Al was a little more low key with it, right? But I mean, we'll get into this when Hondo Carpenter said it, and we'll get to it in a second. But I mean, Mark Davis wanted him 2 years ago. Tom Brady. He wanted Tom Brady 2 years ago. He wanted to move on from Derek Carr. So this is somebody that he's coveted for a while, and he's patient. He'll get his man. Just like John Gruden. He was asking John Gruden, do you want to come back for fucking 10 years? Mm-hmm. And he kept getting no, and he finally got him, right? Same thing here is you know, he's going to pursue him because he wants to make that splash. You know, you had a fantastic video that you put out about Mark Davis being pissed off. And, you know, one of the reasons why I didn't blame the local fans for selling their tickets to opposing fans is because you have to understand something. The Black Knights, they won the Stanley Cup, like what, their second year?
The Golden Knights?
Oh, yeah, whatever.
I don't know about.
Yeah, the Black Knights.
Yeah.
Black Knights. I know so little about hockey because it's a terrible fucking sport to watch. It's if you're live watching it, yeah. If you're watching it on TV, you're just like, what happened? What's going on?
Oh, hockey's the best. Hockey's
terrible,
awesome.
bro. Thank
God the Kings are playing well.
You're white as hell. That's because you're white. Hockey is not fun to watch.
Because they understand quality sports, high action and hit.
Yeah, fucking hockey and collegiate wrestling. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, mixed martial arts, football, hockey.
Yeah, and your top two are hockey and collegiate wrestling.
And if you're hitting somebody, it's a quality sport.
Okay.
Well, look.
What I'm saying is this:
Tom Brady's number one priority is winning. I still believe that's the case. I think there's better places for him to win.
I didn't get a chance to finish my point.
Finish it.
The Golden Knights are a franchise that Las Vegas has adopted because they won early, and the Raiders are not winning early. So you have to have some draw to get these fans to like want to be in the stadium and want to watch the games. You want to have your own fans in the games. Well, how do you do it? You have compelling games. And if you're not winning those games, at least you can have a compelling player to make the people want to go and watch the game.
Yeah, 100%. And but what Tom Brady would do for the Raiders, he would do anywhere too, right? So it's not like, well, you know, that means you come to the Raiders because Mark Davis wants them to sell tickets. All other 32 or 31, all 32 owners want Tom Brady there to sell tickets, right? I just don't feel like he thinks that Raiders is where he can go to win. And I think that's still his number one priority. I think there's teams that are better situated to win now than the Raiders.
You think he'll go to the Jets?
I think the Jets make sense for him. That's a perfect segue. Let's move on to Jimmy Garoppolo, because Garoppolo, again, quarterback that knows the system, certainly had nowhere near the success of Tom Brady. I don't even think as good as Carr as far as like ceiling and like capable of doing big things, but he can play within McDaniels' system great, right? Low mistakes, move the ball, keep the turnovers low. He's proven he can do that on really good teams, right? He's played for the Pats and the Niners, two of the best defenses you'll have again. So he has a really great win percentage because he's playing on really good teams. But can he keep an offense steady, reliable, like that, right? He can. Is that a type of offense that can carry this bad of a defense? I think the offseason and stuff, how good do we, reload the defense? Can all these second year guys take a step up third year when they take a step down second year? All that kind of stuff, right? Those are all big questions. But again, Hondo Carpenter reported that the Jets are all but already done with signing Jimmy Garoppolo. Take that for what you will. I thought Garoppolo made more sense than Brady. Cheaper. He can play. He's a lot younger. He can play longer. Give more time for a backup to develop. What do you think?
If I'm looking at this through the lens of Mark Davis, I'm not going to go from a medium ceiling Derek Carr for an even lower ceiling Jimmy Garoppolo. Mm-hmm. He's going to want to make a splash. He's going to want to make a big hit. And that's why I'm thinking that Tom Brady is probably going to be the choice. And he's going to go after him, and he's going to give him what he wants to be able to.
I have no doubt that I have no doubt that Mark Davis wants Tom Brady the most, and we'll go all in for him. That we both completely agree on. I'm just less confident that he'll land it than you are.
I think as much money as these guys have made, I think that the money still talks, and I think maybe even he would even give him a little bit longer of a contract with guaranteed years on the end. Or avoidable years with dead cap money on the end
for Brady or Garoppolo.
For Garoppolo, he doesn't want Garoppolo, dude. He doesn't want Garoppolo. It's a Derek Carr light, dude. maybe without all the turnovers, he's not as implosion. You know, he doesn't have the implosions that Derek Carr's had this last year. He's more of a steady Eddie type of guy, but he doesn't want another bland vanilla quarterback. He wants to make a big splash.
Sure. No, we both agree. He definitely he's got a hard on for Tom Brady like no one's business for all the reasons an owner wants Tom Brady, right? Like big splash, move tickets, can certainly win, right? He's still a top 7 quarterback in the league, top 8.
He's definitely still top 10.
Right? At least top 10, right? I'd say 7 or 8. But can he get him? Like that's what I'm saying. And so like if he doesn't, and Jimmy Garoppolo, like you said, yeah, it's not Mark Davis's first choice, but you can get him. What do you think he would go for? He got about $7 million this season if you add the incentives that he got because he did play more than they thought he would, right? What do you think he's going to ask for this next round?
He'd go for around 20.
20, yeah.
He would go for around 20. That's the going rate for a journeyman type guy like that.
Like 3 years, 60, 40 guaranteed, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say like the first year maybe would be a little bit less guaranteed for the cap, and then just kind of load up the last couple of years. But yeah, I honestly, it's going to be around. It'll be around 20. He's not going to get huge money, I don't think.
And here's a guy that made himself a little bit of a wild card, Jarrett Stidham. Obviously knows the system as well as anybody. Played in it for 4 seasons. Free agent right now, cheapest of the 3 by far. What that number is can be wildly speculated. Had one really good game, had one not so good game.
Talk about running for your life, dude.
Yeah,
you got sacked 6 times, and I'm surprised it was only 6. Fucking bars, dude.
I'm just gonna say, like, he's mobile. Like, well, he didn't get sacked 6 times.
Well, dude, it's because he's mobile. It was only 6.
Yeah. And the other part is, I think the Raiders can get him for cheap. I can't imagine any team is thinking, all right, let's go all in and make Stidham our starter. Like, I don't think is there any team, do you think, that's like, let's really make a move and try to get Jarrett Stidham to be our starter?
Nah, he hasn't shown enough. I think the most likely scenario, and this is episode 152?
152, my high school wrestling weight.
152. I'm saying it right now. The most likely scenario is Stidham is held. Depending on if Ziegler likes Stidham, but just needs a little bit more time. Stidham as the backup, Brady as the starter, just like it was in New England.
And we'd really want to make sure we've got a backup we're capable of if we have a 46-year-old quarterback. Like, you're going to have to.
He knows the system.
He's going to see some playing time.
What do you want in a backup quarterback? Steady kid, knows the system. Not going to fuck up too bad. He has some flaws because that's why he's a backup, but things that he can work on. And yeah, man, I think that's the most likely scenario. A big monkey wrench can thrown in, draft day when if we get a quarterback early, that's going to be a big monkey wrench in that. But
and that's kind of what I think is the 4th option, right? We got a 7th overall pick. We could trade up if we need to. We could probably get a pretty high. We could get one of the top 4 quarterbacks with that 7th pick easily. I believe, unless everyone just starts trading up ahead of us, right? Top 3, top 4. The 7th overall would cost about $30 million for 4 seasons. That's about it was about 35 last year. Cap's going up, so it'll be roughly 40 mil for the 4 seasons. We've got some guys in the draft. I just don't buy that McDaniels wants to start over with his job on the line with the rookie, with a system that complicated. I just don't buy it.
Well, that's why he's going to have a guy like a Stidham, or in that case, he would have a Stidham or a Brissett that knows the system, that can run his system while he's grooming the younger guy.
Mm-hmm. The really good news in all this, with all these options, we know for sure that the quarterback's chick is going to be smoking hot. Brady, Garoppolo, or Stidham. That quarterback box. Imagine if it's if Mark Davis does get his wet dream, gets Tom Brady and Jarrett Stidham.
What's Brissett? What's Brissett working with? Let me see.
Can't be bad. Can't be bad. Is he married?
I'm gonna say
I don't know anything about
Brissett
Brissett personally.
Let's see. Oh shit.
Stidham's chick and Brady's chick together, hanging out, running Vegas. Ooh,
bro, you're gonna want to check this out.
What am I looking up?
Jacoby Brissett wife.
Jacoby Brissett.
There's one with
not even the
like
top 10 options. No one's googling it.
Check out his like black. Oh, dude, she's fucking fine, dude. She's a lovely lady. I will say that.
She's a handsome woman.
I told you. I said don't discount him.
Oh, I didn't. It's an NFL quarterback. Let's take a look.
Bro, look at that one. That one right there.
I love that hair.
Click on that sucker, dude.
She's very beautiful, right? Like women can be.
She's like classically beautiful.
Women can be sexy. Women can be cute. They can be pretty. They can be gorgeous.
Click on that first one.
She's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Good job for you. Good job for you, Jacoby.
Yeah. She's classy.
Well, Jacoby's a classy name. It's a classy guy.
Telling you. And you got a chick that matched it. And they're married, right?
I don't know, dude. Hope for him. Good for him. Good for him, man.
Sloan Young, playerswives.com. Let's do some real research.
This is off the rails.
As of this is 2019. It they might still be, might not be.
I mean, there's not a newer one. I mean, maybe he's playing the field. You know what? But here's the deal. He's not going to go down. He's going to keep. We see his caliber is up.
I don't know. How is his contract in 2019 versus now? That's a difference. Those cleat chasers, dude, it's crazy how much those cleat chasers know.
Bro, there's a chick that looks just like that girl working at the freaking hot dog on a stick, bro. There's hot chicks everywhere.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he like just lining him up and slaying him, or does he have a main squeeze that we're going to get to see on TV in the owner's box? That's what I care about. I don't care about what he's doing on the side. I care about, am I going to get to see them on CBS on that 10 a.m. window?
Either way, there's going to be something there. It's going to be something there. It's going to be
all right. So that's the question of the day.
Meat hanger.
Who should be the quarterback of the Raiders next season? Let us know.
That took a long time.
On purpose. I mean, this is gonna be the 50% of the Raiders narrative for the rest of this offseason until a quarterback's landed. Until Tom Brady signs somewhere, Tom Brady to the Raiders is going to be the biggest talking point. Like it's,
dude.
I understand why.
To do a suicide check on Rory if that happens. He is not want Tom Brady.
There's enough Raider fans that are going to be pissed about it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. This is how I look at it. Like, as much as I hate Tuck Rule Tommy, I hate Patrick Mahomes more. But if I can have Patrick Mahomes in silver and black under center,
I hate losing.
I would give your left nut to have Patrick Mahomes as our quarterback.
That's my good one too.
I know. That's why. That's how serious I am. I would take not just one nut, but the quality nut.
Jesus.
I would take the alpha nut.
Inferior nut.
No.
Give me that beta nut.
You're left with the beta nut. That's the truth.
He works hard.
So the offseason. It is upon us, and there's a lot going on. The Raiders are in a very similar position to last season. Last offseason, the Raiders had their entire there's a lot of like John Gruden got this next regime stuck with shit players, and that's 100% true. But what he didn't do was decimate the draft and the cap, right? So those are the good things that the Raiders had going for them, is they came in good cap situations. Like these other teams that are coming, like whoever coaches the Broncos, like they're stuck in purgatory for the next 2 years because that Russell Wilson trade, right?
Jeez.
No picks, draft shot to shit. Like they're
only have a first rounder this year. They traded away Chubb and they got a first rounder back from Miami.
Yeah.
So they do have a first rounder this year.
But big chunks of their draft is gone, and 120 million of their cap over the next few years.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Gone. So really it's like, can you fix Russell Wilson or not? That's it. Because there's no other options in Denver.
You need a strong head coach to walk in and be like, listen, bro, Your cooking is like fucking cup of noodles in the microwave. That's you cooking.
Yeah.
We need to freaking get you in a system and get you playing within that system.
You're cooking like with your roommate in junior college, right? We need you to like flambe at Morton's.
Hot dogs in a tortilla with a Kraft single, dude. The
Yep.
Tapatio on top.
Can't be doing that shit. Can't be doing that shit for how much you're making.
That was the college fucking go-to.
I was in college, we were wrestlers, so like we had to be like kind of healthy, and so all we would do was just like cook a meat just on a skillet and just throw it on top of like pre-made salad. That was it. Just like a meat on top of pre-made salad. Took 20 minutes.
Pork chops, pot roast.
Bam, done. On a bed of arugula. So they're in a great position right now. First round pick, second round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick, 3 fifth rounders, 2 sixth, and 2 seventh is what they're projected to have, because there are some conditional picks that are still kind of trending, right? But that's what they're projected at. First, second, third, fourth, 3 fifths, 2 sixths, 2 sevenths. With the Carr contract gone, there should be roughly $60 million in cap space. Yeah. So, yes, not a ton of talent left over from the last regime, but you've got a fuck ton of resources to be able to get it right. They have to get this right. This will be back-to-back off seasons of tons of resources. Now, I get it. Not a lot of good players, especially on the defense, tons of great players on the offense, one good player on the defense. However, the moves that Ziegler made, not great, right? Chandler Jones, a bust for how much was being paid. Everett didn't do all that great. The draft, Parham started. No one else really did a whole lot. And again, there was no first or second rounder, so there's a little bit of leeway there, but you can only be judged by the
game, dude.
Right? Like
it wasn't a bad pick for a third rounder. He played every single game. He started from the beginning.
Played every game. Starter, right? Didn't play great, but starter. Third rounder, not too bad. I mean, he started on a bad offensive line. Okay, not pretty good.
I mean, if you're a rookie on the offensive line and you're a third rounder and you play every single snap and a bad offensive line and you're not the worst offensive lineman, I think you did pretty all right. You're not too bad because you got a lot of bad offensive linemen around you. It's tough to stand out.
Yeah,
and shine.
So one off season below average by Ziegler. This next off season is like, okay, you know what you have now. You know how bad the line is. You know how bad the defense is. You know what the offense is and isn't capable of. We'll know who our quarterback is eventually. And I keep kind of the quarterback almost off of Ziegler. Like that's like a Mark Davis decision, right? Like that's almost above Ziegler's pay grade. It's not really like, it's more like, how are you going to start filling in these linebacking cores? How are you going to start getting us some cornerbacks? Can you start plugging in some free agency guys with some value and not just taking big swings that miss? This is a really, really big offseason for Ziegler.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this, man. And I think what needs to happen right now is we need to take the Jimmy Johnson approach to how he built the Cowboys.
Okay.
And how he did that was he drafted pretty much, he traded a pick pretty much every single round.
Mm-hmm.
So his first, if I was doing it, I would look to trade maybe 5 to 7 spots back every single round. And if you have multiple picks, do it for the first pick in that round and just accumulate this young players. Look for the flashy players. Look for the talented guys. Because look, I'm telling you right now, these two fucking guys, Mick Ziegler, if they have another 6-7 win season, they're fucking gone, dude. I don't think Mark Davis is going to have that much patience. So I wouldn't trade shit for the freaking 2024 draft because Mick Ziegler, you might not be here. So I need to get impact players. So now, if I get a lot of guys that can be on this team that are impact, I want to say we don't know impact players, but guys that, regardless of the position, you get a guy that has shown some high level talent. Maybe he's not as consistent. Maybe he has some off the field issues or whatever. Get those guys in, and in free agency, you go big game hunting. Like we talked about last year, studs and duds. Get those studs. Get the make those big flashy free agents, the big ones, and then fill the roster with these 1-year guys, these Deron Harmon type guys, these Averett type guys that you're only going to give 1 year to. But you have to swing for the fences. Getting Tom Brady, that's swinging for the fences. And you can't play both sides of the fence right now. And you're not technically leaving the cupboard completely bare, because let's say, for example, I did a couple of mock drafts. I did a video of mock draft. I did a couple other ones where I said, you know what, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try to trade my first round pick no more than 7 spots back and see what I can get back. And I did it for the first 4 rounds. I ended up getting something like 16 draft picks. And it wasn't like I was making crazy deals here, you know. I was just, okay, give me I'll give you my 7th overall, you give me the 13th overall, and you give me a 3rd round pick. Okay, great, let's do it. 2nd round comes up, okay, I'll give you this pick, you give me your 2nd round pick, and you give me a 4th round pick. Great. Same thing to 3rd round, same to the 4th round. I would just keep accumulating more picks, and you're bound to hit on somebody. You know, you're not. Hopefully, they're not that inept where if they have enough draft picks, you hit on people, and that's what Jimmy Johnson did. He accumulated a ton of draft picks. He picked the right guys. Did all of them hit? No, they didn't. But enough of them hit where they were able to turn that around right away. So, I honestly think that's what we should do. And given the situation that I believe Ziegler know that they're in, that's something that they would want to do is let's fill out a lot of these roster spots with young rookies that we know or that we've seen and we're confident can play, and then let's just get these high priced free agents. Let's see if Tom Brady can recruit some people in here for maybe a little bit less money, but you're playing with Tom Brady, and see what we can do.
You know how I am. I think the draft is a much bigger crapshoot than scouts and GMs want to admit, because that's their job, right? Oh, you're paying me all this money because I'm great at the draft. I'm a great scout. I got a great team of scouts. I can get you the best guys. Like, that's where their money is. Like, that's what makes them valuable. That's how they have a salary. And so they're not going to admit, like, yeah, it's more of a crapshoot than it is a skill, right? It's like,
that's why you need 16 draft picks, man. Get as many as you can.
What have I always said? En masse.
Volume.
And that's what Belichick always did. Everyone's like, oh, Belichick. Oh, he's such a great drafter. Like, look at all these homegrown talents. Like, he's not. His batting percentage is about the same as everybody else's. He just has a ton of drafts. He has just a ton of picks. Like, that's what he's good at. He's amazing at knowing who he has, trading them away before they fall down, getting tricks, getting compensatory picks, getting conditional picks. That's what he's good at. It's just hoarding picks. So I'm with you 100%. And I'm glad you're saying that, because you're Mr. like, oh, let's get some players. Let's use that 7th overall pick.
But that's what I'm saying is, look, if
that 7th overall pick can get you probably the best, one of the 2 best defensive players in the draft. I still say I'd rather have 2 shots at hitting than going higher and swinging harder. So this is what I've been saying forever. With a defense this bad, as many holes as we have, just start. You know what I mean? It's not like we're one great defensive end away. We're not like one great wide receiver away, right? It's like the whole defense needs to be improved. The line needs to be improved. If we can get 13, 14 draft picks all the way through, that's the way to go. Just start cranking out line and defense. Just bam, 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 bam.
I think I drafted 2 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and the rest of it was defense.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just, 3 safeties, 4 corners, 3 linebackers, a couple of interior defensive linemen, a couple of edge guys. That was a 16 right there. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, okay, look, if you're at number 7, okay, fine. You can get probably one of the best 1 or 2 players at the position at a high-end position. At number 12, you probably still get one of the best 1 or 2 offensive tackles in the draft. At 12, you get that kid from Northwestern or that kid from Ohio State.
I'd much rather have 12 and 30 and have 2 first-round shots at something good than a giant swing at 7.
Exactly. Me too. And here's the thing. I would rather have, instead of 38, I would rather have 45 and 53. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a few spots back, but it's not. You're not trading so far back where it's like you're not in the realm of where maybe the guy can even slip to you at a couple spots later, right? So that's why I say don't trade more than like 5 to 7 spots. Just keep it around that range and just keep accumulating those fourth, fifth, sixth round picks, because we saw in the video that we did about the Gruden Mayock era how many elite players in this league were available and were drafted in the fourth, fifth, sixth rounds. Even those players are there.
You're not shooting with the sniper, you're shooting with the shotgun. Widespread, as many pellets as you can.
If we can get 3 to 4 picks in like rounds 5, 6, and 7, we can get some nice players. And look, let's say a third of those guys hit out of those 12. You got 4 good players that are going to play a big role on your team, hopefully on defense. And it didn't cost you anything. You still got good players at the top of the draft. And because we have so many holes, man, we need to really think. And if Mick Ziegler's watching this, both of you guys, I'm available if you're hiring. But honestly, like, trade back, get more assets. We don't these high end players. One guy is not going to do it. We need a bunch of guys.
This is what I'm worried about, though. This is my concern. We're on the same page. My concern is that Dave Ziegler says, I'm this great GM. I know the Patriot way. I'm really smart. I can do this. I can find my guys and hit them. And like you mentioned earlier, he might not have a job next season if things don't go well this season. So Ziegler needs to be able to say, like, with the 7th overall pick, like, hey, look, I got this amazing Pro Bowl defensive end, or, like, whatever, right? Like, I'm worried that he's going to want a jewel to hold up, right? I'm worried that he's going to be like, McKenzie with Khalil Mack, right? He's just like, look this guy I found. Look at I scouted him. I knew it, and he panned out. That's my concern, is that he's going to want a shiny jewel to say, look how good I am. Look who I scouted, figured out, and picked up.
Yeah, so I think that would go against everything that he's been taught. That's not the Patriot way. The Patriot way is trade back, accumulate more picks, value picks, go for...
True, but now he's in a position where his job's on the line based on it, where it really wasn't before, right? Belichick made the final decision. He was just kind of there helping and evaluating. Now it's like, and things change, right? When it's now... when the buck stops with you and your job is on the line, people often act differently. I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm hoping he sticks to what he does. I'm hoping he sticks the same way. But people act differently when your job's on the line.
Honestly, I've been thinking about this. I honestly think that the Devontae trade was more of a Mark Davis, Derek Carr thing than a Mick Ziegler thing. I'm sure they were happy to have him, but I don't know that they necessarily, in their first draft with the new team with a lot of holes, wanted to trade away their first and second round pick.
Mark Davis is pretty hands off.
Dude, I get it. I mean, I'm sure he's much more hands off with like the day-to-day stuff, but with this big stuff, I don't know, man. I don't see Dave Ziegler pushing too far away from what he's known his entire life as a front office person.
Let's not forget, though, like, Davante Adams did the trade. It wasn't Ziegler on the phone, hey, let's get Davante. What do you want? Right? Like, it was Davante Adams saying, I want to go play on the Raiders with Derek Carr, make it happen, make it work. And then Packers came back like, oh, we'll give you more money. He's like, nope, you already gave me the double bird, Packers. I'm out of here. Make it work. Right? So like, that was more like it fell in their lap and they had to fill out the paperwork.
What's a more likely scenario? Derek Carr working with Mick Ziegler to get that happen, or Derek Carr working with Mark Davis to make that happen? I think the answer is Derek Carr talking to Mark Davis.
Well, honestly, I think neither. I think neither. I think it was more the agent for Davante Adams.
I mean, well, if you listen to David Carr, he swears that on besides walking on water, that Derek Carr made that trade happen.
Davante said it too. In fairness to David, Davante said it too. He's like, I wouldn't be here. The trade wouldn't have happened without Derek.
Okay, so do you think Derek is just doing it all by himself, or he's talking to Mark Davis about it?
This is how I think it happened. We know that Davante Adams got an offer from the Packers that he thought was an insult. So he said, screw you.
It was pretty insulting, honestly.
Yeah. He said,
they were going to
screw you.
franchise. He was like, don't fucking franchise me.
Like, yo, you're going to lowball me? You're going to lowball me, motherfuckers? You're going to lowball me? So he said, screw you. Called up Derek and said, hey, I'm ready to be a Raider. I'm ready for you to throw me some passes. Let's do this. And then the Packers, and like once that got out and the Raiders called the Packers and said like, hey, heard you got a disgruntled wide receiver. Here's our offer. Then that's when the Packers went back to Davante and like, hey, we'll give you this money. And Davante's like, he's a man of principle, right? Like, he's like, nope. You already insulted me once. I'm out of here. Figure it out. And I think it all kind of fell into place there at that point. I think it was just kind of like, all right.
I don't know, man.
No one has any leverage here.
In that scenario, where is Derek Carr making it happen? Because that's what we've heard from two different people. Yeah. Where in that scenario is Derek Carr making that deal happen?
Probably just keeping it pushing. Like, it's so easy when these negotiations, because it's not like Davante was a free agent where he has to go somewhere, right? Yeah. Where everyone's like making their move and the transaction's active until Davante is signed somewhere, right? Like, Tom Brady's an active transaction until he's signed, right? Everyone's going for him. It's different when it's a trade and grabbing somebody under contract, because that can hit a wall and you're like, all right, I kind of give up. This isn't going anywhere. And then Derek is just knocking on the door constantly. Like, hey, don't forget about Davante. Don't forget about Davante. Don't forget. I think we're just kind of just like pushing from internally to push it through.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Just nonstop, right?
Nonstop tag. So yeah, but look, the reason
even those little cards on the door.
Yeah, right. Get that shit on here. Look, I think we're getting off topic here, but I think that was a very non-Patriot way move. Is trading a first and second round pick for a play. Now, it seemed to work out. He's a Pro Bowler as voted on, and we'll talk about that. But I don't know that he's going to be taught a certain way and just go against it 2 drafts in a row, because there is a lot of holes now, and it's not about hitting that home run with your first round pick. It's about hitting those doubles, getting on base with every single pick, so you have those guys littered across your roster. Because now we don't have anything, dude. We have nothing. We have 2 guys on our roster on our defense right now that are really worth much of anything. The other guys, they're just guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, and to answer your original question, like, that's why I think that Davante Adams was a novelty, right? It wasn't like Ziegler went out there and pounded the pavement to get Davante. It fell into his lap and they worked it out. So it's still, Patriot-y way. I hope you're right. I just hope that when he acts the same when his job's on the line, when he acted when it wasn't. That's what I'm hoping. Let's do some Raider news. We all heard the story. The Denver Broncos requested and received permission from the New Orleans Saints to interview Sean Payton for their head coach job. League sources tell ESPN the NFL ruled that any in-person interview with Payton cannot be conducted until at least January 17th per sources. Now, Sean Payton is the smoking hot chick without a date at the prom right now. He is the most sought-after coach. We've heard there's like disgruntling with Sean McVay in LA, but if he leaves the Rams, I'm 99% sure he's going to broadcasting. I don't think he's leaving the great situation in the Rams to go coach in Denver.
Not all that great anymore, man. All that fuck those picks is coming back to chickens are coming home to roost.
Well, the injuries is what screwed that team this season. When everyone's healthy again, who knows, right? And you got one of the wealthiest owners in sports. You're in LA, beautiful stadium. Like, he's got a lot. He's got a lot going for him in LA, and probably I don't know if there's a better situation for him than LA, but that's neither here nor there. Until McVay's like truly says, I'm wide open, I'll be a head coach. Wide open, just gaping open. Then Sean Payton is clearly the hottest
bell of the ball,
free agent head coach out there. And there's been other teams, the Texans have requested to meet him, stuff like that. But we're mostly concerned as a Raider podcast with him going to Denver. I don't think Sean Payton would want to go to Denver because of the Russell Wilson situation, the draft picks they lost, the cap hell that they're in. The defense is awesome. The offense has potential. But he's been more or less retired for a year. He's been doing some broadcasting, but like he's been half-assing it, right? Like he's been the schedule of an NFL head coach, the schedule he has now. He's like, life is good, not having to
show up
do
the day before. Just figure, all right, well, you
Yeah,
guys
like-
did an interview. Show me the notes. All right, cool, I'm good.
done. You've got 3 producers, 2 writers doing your legwork for you. Just like you're straight, bro. No consequences. Like, what's the worst thing? I have a take that is proved wrong. Like, what?
Dude,
Talk about no stress after being a head coach.
He's like the DC of NFL like commentating. Like he's the guy at the desk.
Punditry.
Yeah, he just goes in and gives his opinions. He talks what he sees, and he adds a little bit of spice and makes the broadcast better. That's what DC does.
He's asked questions and just responds, as opposed to like hosting a radio show by himself for 3 hours. That's the full-time job, right?
Yeah, that's what DC does. He's not a play-by-play guy. He's kind of like the second color guy. Mm-hmm. He's just in there to add expertise and to add flavor because he's got a personality.
And so if I'm Sean Payton, I don't think he's going to want to go to Denver and be like, all right, I have 2 years of eating shit until this Russell Wilson thing's done. I'd rather go somewhere where I can start winning right away because I've known what it's like to win a Super Bowl. I just came off a very laid back, easy year. I think he's focused more like, hey, let's do the fun part of coaching. Let's try to do a place where I can do a lot more fun parts of coaching than shitty parts of coaching. And that's not the Denver Broncos right now.
The only thing that keeps me from agreeing with you 100%
is your lack of knowledge.
Oh yeah, there's that. And there's the fact that the freaking owners of the Broncos have fuck you money in between their toes. Like they can freaking pull belly button lint out and that shit is
and buy both of our lives.
Yeah, like no problem.
In one of their seat cushions in their 7th home.
What was that movie where Matt Damon was like in with like the oil tycoons in like Saudi Arabia or something like that? And one of his sons got electrocuted in a pool and he died and like they gave him $6 million. And he's like, that's what you're going to pay for my child, $6 million. He's like, yes. And if you'd like, I will give $6 million for your other son. Like just all cold like that. Yeah. Like that's what they would do to freaking us. Like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, whoever is the next of kin, we'll give him $6 million. Fuck them. They have that kind of money. So I can.
Saudis can have my daughter for $45 and half a pizza. By the way, just throwing that out there.
It's got to be a freaking round table, King Arthur. That motherfucker.
The works. We want the works.
Come on, man. Whoa,
I wasn't born yesterday. Jeez.
Yeah, I see. If it can't be the Costco Supreme because they don't have it anymore.
Have you seen those blonde curls on her? Come on.
Jeez, she's cute as a button.
It's a buyer's market.
Match. But dude, they have so much money, bro. If they want him, they will throw enough money at him and enough resources at him where it'll be stupid for him to say no.
Well, I think there's other places too that have that kind of fuck you money, right? Like obviously the Waltons are some of the richest owners, but like the Rams, Jags, a couple other places they can throw equally amount at a head coach. Maybe not their net worth is the same, but when it comes to like their 17th business, which is their NFL team, right? Based on like the other billions they've made doing other stuff, they can match. And I think there's probably 10 other owners that can get close to the ballpark, right? Like if they're offering 25, if the Waltons are offering 25 to come to Denver, there's 10 other places that can offer 20 for Sean Payton. So it's
$5 million is a big difference. That's a quarter more. That's 25% more.
It's a difference maker. It matters.
The thing is too, you have to look at it from this perspective. They're new owners. They came into a situation where that wasn't their head coach. That was they hired. Mm-hmm. It was a new head coach. They didn't like the direction it happened. He got cut out midseason. But again, like almost like the Mark Davis thing is, they want to make a splash. They want their guy, and if they identify their guy, that's the guy we want. We already tried this situation. We already paid a shit ton of money, whatever was like $5 billion for the team, and we didn't even get to pick our head coach. So now I'm going to get the guy I want.
But don't second guess fuck you money with being bad with money. Like some of the richest people I know are the cheapest people I know, right? like that's why how they're rich.
I don't know if they would see that as being irresponsible, getting the guy you want for your franchise, for your new investment, getting the head coach that you want,
after already a giant swing and miss with Russell Wilson. Like they're already like I could easily see like who, like the business manager in charge of like responding directly to the Waltons, right? Like the Waltons aren't there like in the Denver Broncos facility day, right? Going through.
Bro, they make Sean Payton's salary a day at Walmart. Okay. It's not that big a deal to them.
But that's similar to a lot of other franchises too. And again, like if you're Sean Payton, you have what, 100 million in the bank at this point? Probably.
Whoa, I don't know if he has that much.
How much does he have in the bank right
that
now?
Expensive motherfucker. Goddamn.
Well, how long has he been an NFL head coach?
Yeah, but he's not 100 millionaire. Are you fucking kidding me?
How many? Well, how much has he made as an NFL head coach?
He's got taxes. He's got expenses. Like, dude, Jesus, like he's not freaking living in poverty here.
How many? How many
Sean
years?
Payton
net worth.
Let's see. God damn, $100 million, dude. Like, why is he even
I rest my case.
working?
Yeah, he's been an NFL head coach forever.
No, I'm saying what you're saying.
Yeah, that's my point. So if you're like, all right, an extra $5 million when I'm roughly already worth $100 million, you start being able to give up some headaches. Like you start sacrificing money to get rid of headaches at that point. Like
his $24 million fortune.
Also, this too, like if you had,
so you're about the triple too high.
I'll put it this way: NFL head coaches aren't that much different than you and me when it comes to stuff like this. Like when we're looking for a new job, clearly money is a giant factor, probably the biggest factor when we're looking to go to a new job, but it's rarely 100% of the factor. Like I would definitely take a 20% pay cut to be able to work from home and not do my commute that I used to have to do to Culver City to go to Fox. When I had a 10 a.m. call time at Fox, I left at 8 a.m. to hit that 405 rush hour traffic.
That freaking dry fist traffic.
There and back. 3 to 4 hours of my day was gone sitting in traffic. Now I work either completely from home or I'm on a plane heading to a UFC event, right? I would, if they said, hey, RJ, we'll give you a 20% raise to drive to Culver City 4 days a week, I'd say, nope, not taking it. It's not worth the headache. I'd rather not have the money and be happy and be home. And I think the headache of having to get the Broncos through where they are, I don't think it's that crazy to say like, no, I'll take 20% less to go somewhere else and be happy.
You're also discounting the ego of these guys that they can turn things around. I mean, that's a part of it.
I think it's more. The ego is I want to win Super Bowls. Get me to the best place possible to win Super Bowls. I think that's where the ego kicks in. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm right because I'd hate to have Sean Payton in the AFC West and not in the silver and black. In more Raiders news, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams are on the first team in the NFL Players Association. What do they call it? All-Stars, Pro Bowl, All-Pro team.
It's the All-Pro. It's the
All-Pro team. Yeah.
It's the inaugural. It's the Players All-Pro team.
So the players from the Players Association, the first time they're doing it, and Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams weren't first teamers in the Pro Bowl. First teamers when the players exclusively vote. What does that tell you, Soto? Anything?
I think this means a lot more than a bunch of writers and fans voting. Mm-hmm. I think these are the guys that are on the field playing with these guys, knowing these guys make that big of a difference. And when you got, dude, that's freaking amazing. I didn't. There was no reason for a player from a different conference to talk up Josh Jacobs. There was no reason for Nick Bosa to say what he said about Josh Jacobs, about him being the best running back he's ever played against. There's no reason for him to say it. Mm-hmm. He's probably not going to play him in a few years, if then. So it's like he said it out of his mouth. One of the best defenders in the NFL, and the rest of the league feels the same way. It looks like.
I wonder how much players pay attention. I genuinely don't know. Like if you're a third string wide receiver for the Vikings. Are you really paying attention to like who the best running backs are in the league? Like, are you doing that homework? Are you looking up like, because my first thought was like, oh, wow, these guys get it. They know that Josh Jacobs played behind not a great line. His yards after contact were better than anybody. Yeah, like they did their homework and they know. I'm like, really? Are NFL players like doing that kind? Because media members are and fans are. Are players doing that kind of research? Or are they just kind of like, oh, I like this guy? Like, oh, I know him. I like him.
Honestly, it's more of the eyeball test with players because I listen to a radio show in the morning that has a former NFL player on there, and he'll tell you things like, "Oh yeah, this guy's this guy's that." It's Keyshawn Johnson.
Okay.
And I listen to it when I'm at work. I just pop it in and listen to it. So he'll tell you if these guys, they don't need to break shit down like that. They can watch a play, even if it's not the all 22. They can watch a play and they can say, "Oh yeah, man, that guy's doing that shit all by himself."
Did I tell you the story of how we were in? So I used to be at 710 ESPN doing an MMA show like 14 years ago, and that's how long Keyshawn's been there. So I was doing our like test, like we were doing like a mic test to see if like our show was going to be good. When we were leaving, Keyshawn Johnson came in to do his. That was literally, I was literally in the studio that he used to test to be on 710 ESPN 14 years ago. And he got the gig.
He tested too.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yo, man, you need to hit him up. You got the freaking blue check. Hit him up. He's a Raider fan.
You like how I like slowly insinuated that he had to wait for me to be done for my test so he can be next?
More like they kicked you out because he showed up.
Like, more like he shows up. More like he shows up whenever he wants.
He showed up and they're like, "All right, get the fuck out of here." Yeah, man. Hit him up, man. He's a Raider fan.
Yeah, he's got nothing but time. Nah, he's a Trojan. Fuck him. Ready to do some What Up Windbags?
Yes, sir.
Afro Fog. Sweet name.
Damn.
Not to mention, lots of us are going to boycott if Tom Brady comes to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, no one makes fun of Tuck Rule Tommy more than me. No one hates Tom Brady. Well, probably people hate Tom Brady more than me, but like I'm right on board with hating
some
Tom
Jets
Brady.
fans I know that really hate Tom Brady.
There's plenty of people that hate Tom Brady. But if anyone can make the Raiders win or better, I'm on board. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go out and buy a Brady jersey. I'm not going to go out there and like, you know, cut my hair just like him or like put his fat head up on my wall. But if he's coming to Las Vegas, he is our quarterback. He is QB1 for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he will get the respect that he deserves. And I don't think there'll be that many fans that hate him so much where they like burn their Raider gear and sell their season tickets. I don't think there'll be that. I think we get way too caught up in this super hardcore like YouTube podcast Reddit sphere of people that hate Tom Brady, unless the big real world where it's just like, oh, a super famous quarterback coming to my team. Cool.
I think it's a lot of talk, and when it happens, it's going to test a lot of people's, you know, Raider fandom.
You think so?
I think so, because look, I think it's going to test a lot of people who say they're Raider fans, and then, oh, I hate Tom Brady, I'm not going to watch the Raiders anymore. Okay, were you really a fan? Like, we're fans. Like, if you've been a fan for more than 10 years, you're a fan. Because you went through some shit times, and then you went through a move, and you're still a fan of this team. I've been through two moves. They were in LA when I started watching football. I mean, when you started watching football, they were in LA.
First game I went to.
Yeah, LA. Oakland, and then now Vegas. It's like
they keep moving further and further away. They're in my backyard on the opposite side of the state. Now they're in another state.
Yeah, but it's closer, mile-wise.
It is closer. It is closer. I just make it sound further away because it's across state lines.
I'll stop. So, yeah, it's people say a lot of things until you start winning games. Yeah,
I'll tell you this much: whatever number of people stop being Raider fans because Tom Brady comes to the Raiders, 10,000 times that number will become Raider fans because Tom Brady is a Raider. I hate him, but I can't deny just how famous he is and how accomplished he is. You can't. Vic 8962, McDaniels' offensive system, the Earnhardt Perkins, limits the type of quarterback we can get. I can't see Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers playing under McDaniels and this offensive system. It's interesting because you remember when Josh McDaniels was at Denver the first time, he kind of insinuated like he can turn any quarterback into a Pro Bowler. Like he's kind of like, I have a system that can turn anyone into something. I think it's opposite. I think he has a system that requires a very specific quarterback. And at the time, he thought it was reverse. I think now he's like, no. I think hopefully now he realizes I need a quarterback wired to my system more than my system can wire any quarterback.
Well, he's been pretty flexible. After Tom Brady, he had Cam Newton, which was a completely different offense.
Yep.
Then he went back to if we have Lamar Jackson running the Cam Newton offense, I think it would look a lot different. I think it would be a lot more effective. So he's able to adjust what he's doing, and he even dummied down the offense a ton for Mac Jones last year to the point where he was able to be successful. No one's going to tell me and make me believe that Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. So I know that he can dial it up or down depending on the level of the quarterback.
True.
And then you have the talent there with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with him working within the system.
Well, look, no, Lamar Jackson is just such a talent that
it's fucking crazy how fucking good he is.
But I will say, like the Cam Newton, remember, like the Cam Newton season, like started to fall apart towards the end. And I think
because Cam started to fall apart towards the end.
Started to fall apart. But it's also like when McDaniels has this big, elaborate, complicated tree with all these branches and roots type systems, he can chop off a chunk of it and be like, all right, Cam, you're just doing this, right? Yeah. But it doesn't develop throughout, like Josh McDaniels' system develops throughout the season, right? It's like, these are the things I put on tape in weeks 1 through 4. That's gonna make people adjust. So this is what I'm doing weeks 5 through 8, right? Like it's a very elaborate, constantly evolving Rubik's Cube. When he doesn't have a quarterback that he needs to grasp it all, he's limited to chunks of it. And it doesn't grow the way it's supposed to, right? Like with Mac Jones, like with Cam Newton. So like, you're right. Like it's elaborate enough and he's smart enough of an offensive coordinator to come up with something that can work for guys like that. But to like flourish long-term, I don't think a Cam Newton is going to, or a Lamar Jackson will make that really be like the long-term solution. I've got Band-Aids to make this work for you this season, but that's kind of it.
I don't know, man. We'll see if the pie in the sky really does come true, and we end up getting Lamar Jackson for fucking $50 million a year, which is probably what he's going to want. Mm-hmm. I think it could work out, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway. So whatever.
King Guillotine. Until Mark Davis sells, nothing will change. You buying that?
No, I don't think so.
It's weird because for the last 20 years of inadequacy and ineptitude, the one constant has been Mark Davis. But so you're like, okay, so there's like one anchor.
Well, right? Maybe 10 of those years.
Oh yeah.
The other 10
it's like a senile version of Al, and Mark didn't really quite take over. But anyway, through Mark Davis's entire tenure as owner, it's been a lot of ineptitude, right? That's irrevocable fact. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't prove causality, right? That doesn't prove that he's the reason why, but it's an undeniable fact that his tenure has been terrible. I think Mark Davis can figure it out. I think Mark Davis can, because he only needs to land a good coach and GM once. Like he can be wrong, land him, keep him for 15 years, and we're good, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think he's so inept that he can't eventually land something good.
Good. Well, let's take a realistic look at the Raiders situation the last 20 years. The first 10 years was slipping away Al Davis, trying to catch lightning in the bottle every single freaking year. Mm-hmm. He didn't give his team a chance to suck, because even when we sucked, we still had a lot of shitty contracts. It was hard for us to build, especially with young talent, because we were paying all these guys a lot of money. So you have those first 10 years or so. Then Al Davis passed away, rest in peace. And you have Hugh Jackson is the head coach who assumes GM duties and fucks it up for another year and a half, okay? Then Mark Davis is like, screw all this. I need to hire somebody. And he hires what? Reggie McKenzie, right? Mm-hmm. So he's trying to do the right thing and get a football guy in there, a guy who learned under Wolf in Green Bay Guy learned the right
Did
way.
he hire Renji in 2012?
No, because he had Hugh Jackson was for the end of that year and then the next year.
Hugh Jackson was 2011, and then it was Dennis Allen from 2012 to 2014.
Yeah, and no, because Dennis Allen was Derek Carr's first head coach in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2014. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it's 2014, right? And Dennis Allen was just atrocious, right? Tony Sperano had.
No, I'm talking about GMs here. So So he hires Reggie McKenzie as GM. So he hired a legit GM. Mm-hmm. We could talk about how he did in his later drafts, but he did hit on some good picks early on in his tenure. He got Carr, he got Mack, he got Cooper, he got some good players, right? Okay, so he was trying to do it the right way. He was not trying to be outlandish about it. He finally was able to get John Gruden and pry him away from the booth. But John Gruden's like, I can only do it if I'm running the show. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily think he hired John Gruden and wanted to get rid of Reggie McKenzie. I think he got Reggie McKenzie because that was what would get John Gruden.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that he's that impulsive. I think the poor decision that he made was giving John Gruden the keys to every single door in the kingdom. That was the mistake that he made. And I don't think he's going to make that mistake again.
So basically, he's only hired basically 3 GMs, right? McKenzie, Gruden, and now Ziegler, basically, right? But he's got a fuck ton of head coaches in that term too, right? Like that's the other part of it. The GM and head coach, he's always wanted to be a part of. And the head coaching has been rough. Like Jack Del Rio had something going, one bad season, and he got his Gruden guy, right? Hugh Jackson, Dennis Allen, Tony Sperano, just kind of like bad for
Tony
a while,
Sperano
right?
was like a mid-season replacement, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like an interim guy. Yeah. He came in before Del Rio. So again, that's my point. Is like
the thing is the Gruden hire makes everything look shitty because Gruden came in and it was like the guy he'd been wanting for 10 years, and that made him move on from Del Rio maybe too soon, a year too soon, and see if maybe Del Rio could have turned it around. It made him move away from McKenzie. Maybe McKenzie was able to turn it around, and you get John Gruden, who's now going to tear everything down and then really build it back up in his image. So it restarted the clock, and I don't know, dude. It didn't seem like it was. And in hindsight, it was a terrible idea. But now that you're looking at it, it's like, yeah, we had some cornerstone players on this team. We had some building blocks. If we would have just stayed prudent, we had a chance to build a team with a head coach, with a GM that are in sync.
And who knows what would have happened if Washington didn't want to release John Gruden's emails too. It's like, what would the last 2 seasons have been like?
Dude, you see this freaking those moves he made? We would still have the dearth of talent, dude. We wouldn't have talent.
The GMing would still be shitty. I don't know. Maybe all those swings and misses Gruden would be like, maybe listen to someone a little bit more.
Are you kidding me?
Maybe not.
He's probably still dropping N-bombs right now, dude.
No, not his behavior. Not his behavior.
He's not going to change his behavior. That's part of his behavior. Is like, oh yeah, well, maybe I'll listen to other guys now instead of picking whoever I want to pick. Get out of here, man. He's John Gruden. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants.
You tell me it's impossible for him to learn and get better and learn from his mistakes and improve?
I think it's impossible for him to see his faults.
You think the same thing with Mark Davis?
No, I think Mark Davis
is even more powerful and more rich.
No, I think Mark Davis did see his fault in giving John Gruden and a head coach the keys to the castle, and he separated those two with an actual GM, because Mayock wasn't a fucking GM, bro. He was a scout, a glorified scout. John Gruden was making all the freaking decisions. So he then said, okay, let me get a coach and a GM that know each other, that work together, that are friends, that can give us a common a common vision. So I think he did learn from that respect, I think.
Maybe. I mean, that's the move that he made, but it's not like Josh McDaniels had the same sway that John Gruden did and can demand it. Like if Josh McDaniels demanded GM power, every owner would be like, kick rocks. You're not that big. Like if Sean Payton came in and said, I want to be a Raider, but I want GM power, Mark Davis probably says yes, right? Like Mark Davis says yes to that, right? Because it's Sean Payton. If Sean McVay says that, he probably says yes. Belichick says that, he probably says yes.
You can do the what if game all you want, but the thing is it does seem like he did learn from it.
I hope so. All right, that's it for us. first show of the off season. Show's a little different. We'll start doing some. We don't really do interviews during mid-season. We'll do some interviews in the off season. Like we mentioned earlier, hopefully it's a big off season because it needs to be. It needs to be a drastically big, successful hits. I want doubles, triples, and homers. We can't be striking out in this off season. Ziegler, McDaniels, looking at you. Make it work, boys.
Hey man, they're on the hot seat, bro. They are, and I think they know it. They may survive the entire season, but I don't know if they're going to get a third season if they get another 6-7 wins this year. They're going to have to get back in it.
And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Max Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.